There we go.
So, actually, Beeman directed this scene.
Oh, yeah, because you weren't there, right?
Yeah, I already had gone on vacation.
Did he place the rocks?
Well, actually, there was storyboards for the scene, and then I was actually really happy that they had kind of stuck to the idea of it. And we'd already established a certain amount of his blocking, because there's a flying shot that's actually not in here now. But
he takes off at the end, though, right?
Yeah, he does, but we did it low-tech. We just put him on the crane.
Oh, you did?
And then, but it had to land somewhere where you guys were shooting, Japan or something. It had to go to another place.
It's amazing how you guys cover up the height difference between the two of them, because Hayden is so tiny.
And he's a giant.
And he is a giant, yeah.
He's a giant.
He's tall.
She comes up to his waist, I think. Something like, that's like pretty legitimate, I think.
Yeah, no, she's tiny. She's a midget. In the best possible way.
In the best possible way.
But, yeah, the thing was, I'd already gone away. I'd gone to Europe, but I was still able to cut the show. I could download it to my phone and was cutting the show overseas.
That's amazing.
Doing notes on my phone.
In a coffee
watching
shop.
it in a coffee shop in Paris.
Having a latte.
And able to,
That's so fancy.
That's very fancy.
You know what? Fix
Very
this.
new wave.
But, okay, so you were telling me something about your powers. What's going on?
Well, I was just starting this when we took a little break to tell Kristen how much I love what she does as Elle on this show, and that she's this diabolical, pixie. But she has this, which is something that I love that our writers do, is that they take somebody having a power and then they make it kind of twisted. Right. And her power is like foreplay, for her. And
they definitely, that was definitely right from the get-go. From the get-go, maybe, that they had said that I would be the first character introduced that was completely confident and obsessed with her power, because the introduction of all the other characters have been like, oh my gosh, I can regenerate, what do I do with this, I can read minds, how do I adapt this in my daily life? And Elle comes in loving it, does it on her own, does it to other people, messes around with it, and that it's extremely autoerotic for her, and that she just enjoys it because that's all she knows.
She digs it, and maybe all she has.
Well, one of the fun things I think we tried to establish is that because she's been locked away, that her take on sexuality and the way she tries to come on to men is inappropriate and awkward, but also off of what she's seen on television. So it's not from a real genuine place, but aping what she's seen in movies and television. And I thought that was something you really brought, especially to the stuff you do with Sendel later in the episode.
That was so much fun.
And the stuff in the cell with Peter in the 4 months ago.
By the way, I have so much fun working with Greg. He is such a nut.
He's crazy in the best possible way.
I worked with Hayden on a show. I've worked with Greg on a show. Santiago, who was on last year, I worked with. It's like a good chunk of the cast, and some of the writers I worked with on other shows, but Greg is crazy.
Greg is one of the funniest people I've ever met.
He keeps the set very light.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
They showed a series of outtakes last week when we were at work, and they were all Greg. It was
so
cute.
You did.
Well, the whole... this is a good scene of you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome, legitimate picture of Nick.
I know.
What?
This picture of
awesome
Nick
high school
12,
picture of Nick.
12 or 13. Not quite so lanky and tall.
Not doctored.
But equally adorable. And you know what else I love about? I love that, there's a moment where she goes, I don't know why I'm not leaving you. And I love that, I love the writers for sticking that in, because who could just pretend that this is the norm?
Well, you and Jack do such good work together, especially in a scene like this where, I think one of the things that we had talked about was making sure that Sandra didn't come off as a victim, that she still was strong. And,
right.
And Kevin, that was always, that's one of those things it's easy to fall into playing victim, and it's nice to see that you navigated it, and Jack's done,
But you can also play the love so much and how familiar you guys are, but you also play the distance so well of like what's been growing and growing and growing and taking you apart. Like it really comes across.
And Jack's character's really trying to earn you back again too, which is nice to see that evolve over the episode. And that's actually, I'm surprised. So often on shows they take that kind of stuff out.
They take it out.
And it's nice to see that was, especially this episode when we first cut it, was 62 minutes long. And it just had to keep getting streamlined. But actually, it's stayed streamlined all intact, too. Nothing's really significant's really missing.
And he does an awesome job, I just have to say. He is ever the ambiguous, ferociously protective dad, and creepy freak mob man, too, He's just
and he's great at being able to turn that on.
He walks that line very well.
Jack did a great job in this episode. Also, you know, the idea of knowing your death is coming and knowing, you know, we made a joke. He's like, why would I wear this jacket if I saw it in the picture? I just won't wear the jacket, you know. So we had to, obviously we had to get to that spot. So we actually, and I think it stayed in, is there's just a small scene when he goes to the mirror before you ask him where he's going, and Wes scoops him up, where we have that moment of him realizing that, you know, there's no way to stop the collision of these events, and you know, he's got to kind of own it and surrender to it.
Which is sort of what Takai says when he says, you know, we have godlike powers, but we don't get to play God.
Right.
Brilliant.
And this is we were talking earlier too about Stephen's reactions to Bob's reactions to Elle.
Oh, it's so good.
There's a great one coming up, actually.
I love your
where
physicality
you say how
with him,
adorable,
you know? It's like
Sindel is, and then he sort of...
He has an eye roll.
Can I keep...
I don't think you fully got the fact that I'm hiking up his pants so far right now.
I got it.
You did?
You definitely, like,
And the way
yeah.
you're
There you
putting
go.
on
It's
this
good with that.
strap, it's like...
It makes the punch.
You're not just...
Here's his eye roll
Yeah.
coming up. It's so brilliant.
But I'm glad that you really, like, melted all over him, which is nice. It's good.
He's so good.
Like, oh, crap.
There's so much evil and comedy layered into Stephen Tobolowsky.
And the gun, too, like, you know, trying to land all these events that he knows what's...
And Sindel's got a great line to walk in this, too, because he is truly ever the good guy. You know,
Right.
looking to believe in...
This is actually reused from the episode, I think the season opener.
Oh, right. Oh, this is when
So,
Hero comes... Right.
Yeah. So this we shot new and Hero, from Hero's point of view, and then cut in the old coverage.
And Christine Rose and I are constantly saying that we can't wait to cross each other's paths.
Right.
Ooh, that would be
Be a
so
big
good.
knockdown, drag out. Mom
Cat
versus
fight.
grandma.
These two are great together. By the way, I'm sure on one of these commentaries, Masi's done his George Takei. He can do great George Takei
He
and a
can.
great Greg Beeman.
He does Greg
I
Beeman.
wanna
He
hear
does
the
a great Greg
Beeman.
Beeman. Somebody did somebody else, too. I'm trying to think. I can't remember.
A lot of jokes, a lot of impressions on this set.
Oh, yeah. Always.
This is such a heartbreaking scene.
Yeah.
And it's great to come back. Like, I think it's something that I know as a fan of the show, I'd want to see a scene like this. I'd want to see Hero go back and try to change the future. That's the thing Joe
There it
did
is.
great. Like, Joe comes at
Great line.
writing
Yeah,
for the
great
show
line,
as like
right?
as a fan of the show as well. So Joe's stuff is, I mean, Joe wrote one of my favorite episodes last year, which is the one that was the departure episode that took place in the future with everybody.
yeah,
See what
yeah,
happened to
yeah.
everybody. I love that. But he did this was like a jackpot script to get from Joe to be able to do this.
Yeah, it was a good script.
Joe's a
So this is the
stellar
jacket.
writer.
That's the gag, you know.
We have great writers.
Ooh, see, now I know. Now I completely noticed that you layered that in about the jacket. Good.
Well, Jack made a good point. It's like, if you've seen the painting, just don't.
Yeah.